Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for standing by for the Four Seasons Education's third quarter fiscal year 2020 earnings conference call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. After management's prepared remarks, there will be a question-and-answer session. Today's conference call is being recorded. If you require operator assistance, please press star then zero. I will now turn the call over to your host, Ms. Olivia Lee, Investor Relations Manager for the company. Please go ahead, Olivia.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third quarter fiscal year 2020 earnings conference call of Four Seasons Education. The company's results were issued via Newswire services earlier today and are posted online. You can download the earnings press release and sign up for the company's email distribution list by visiting the IR section of our website at ir.sigiedu.com. Ms. Joanne, our Director and Chief Executive Officer, will start the call by providing an overview of the company performance highlights for the quarter. Ms. Xun Wang, the company's Vice President of Finance, will provide details on the company's financial results and business outlook before opening the call for your questions. Before we continue, please note that today's discussion will contain forward-looking statements made under the Safe Harbor provisions of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties. As such, the company's results may be materially different from the views expressed today. Further information regarding these and other risks and uncertainties is included in the company's prospectus as filed with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The company does not assume any obligation to update any forward-looking statements except as required under applicable law. Please also note that Four Seasons Education's earnings press release and this conference call include discussions of unaudited GAAP financial information as well as unaudited non-GAAP financial measures. Four Seasons Education's press release contains a reconciliation of the unaudited non-GAAP measures to the unaudited most directly comparable GAAP measures. I will now turn the call over to our CEO, Ms. Zuo. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Olivia, and hello, everyone. We achieved another quarter of steady performance with revenue of RMB 103.5 million, representing year-over-year growth of 13.5%, and adjusted net profit of RMB 14.5 million. The stable financial performance was attributable to our relentless efforts on growing the core business geared by the continuous ramp-up of our learning centers. During this quarter, we also maintained our momentum in diversifying course offerings to better address the different academic demands of students across the entire K-12 age groups. Our development plan for the learning center network remained on track. In the third fiscal quarter, we opened 2 new learning centers in Jiangsu province. As a result, the total number of learning centers increased to 55 in the third quarter, compared to the preceding quarter. Going forward, we will concentrate our network building efforts on economically dynamic markets. In the meantime, we continue to prudently optimize our learning center network on an ongoing basis as we explore better locations and more favorable rental terms. The steady ramp-up of our learning center and continuous optimization of our network will eventually fuel our revenue growth. Additionally, our online classes, as an efficient supplement to our offline courses, are well received by our students and have achieved rapid development in the fiscal 2020 to date. We have also been proactively explore new opportunities in the online education market. Besides our organic business growth, we remained active in developing and cultivating various innovative educational products and activities that prominently differentiate ourselves among the K-12 after-school education providers. Our interest-oriented courses have been well received by students from different age groups. Our math lab projects Our flagship product continued to gain the industry's attention. We have established a comprehensive math-based curriculum and evaluating system in this program, including cultural courses, experimental activity classes, mathematical games, and the self-testing system. As of the third quarter, we inked a collaboration agreement with multiple regular K-12 schools to introduce our math lab teaching materials and courses to their students, further enhancing Four Seasons Education's brand awareness in our targeting student group. In addition, our math lab project received a very positive feedback from educational professionals and participants in the 5th China Education Innovation Expo. These achievements demonstrate our commitment to education, as well as our strong educational innovation capabilities, which in turn will further increase student engagement with us. We will remain dedicated to curriculum development and technological innovation. Besides consistently improving our math lab project through consistently upgrading the self-testing system, we have been proactively exploring new opportunities through investments in our online presence in the meanwhile. Also, we will keep cultivating our brand educational content and the teaching methods to consolidate our leading position and brand reputation in K-12 education and intellectual development. We believe our enrollment growth, learning center network development, top-line performance, as well as positive progress of other activities in the third quarter all serve to illustrate the effectiveness of our strategy and the resiliency of our business model. With the right strategy and efficient execution in place, we are optimistic about our performance for the quarters to come. With strong experience in math education, proactive approach to diversifying course offerings, grade level coverage expansion, as well as diligent network construction, we believe we are in the right trajectory to grow our business. With that, I would now turn the call over to our Vice President of Finance, Ms. Jun Wang, who will discuss key financial results.
Thank you, Joanne, and hello, everyone. Our third quarter results were solid and in line with our expectations. We delivered revenue of RMB 103.5 million, representing year-over-year growth of 13.5%. This top-line performance reflects the healthy ramp-up of our learning centers as a result of our established brand image among students and parents. Along with our cost control and optimization of operations, we realized operating income of RMB 10.9 million and continued to make positive strides in the third quarter. We are dedicated to optimizing our operation across all aspects on an ongoing basis in order to further improve our profitability. We are launching prudent expansion plans. Now, I'd like to walk you through further details of our third quarter fiscal year 2020 financial results. Revenue increased by 13.5 million to RMB 103.5 million for the third quarter of fiscal year 2020 from RMB 91.2 million in the same period of last year, primarily attributable to the healthy ramp-up of new learning centers, which the company opened during fiscal year 2019. Cost of revenue increased by 17.2% to RMB 50.5 million for the third quarter of fiscal year 2020 from RMB 43.1 million in the same period of last year, primarily attributable to the increase in faculty staff cost. Gross profit increased by 10.2% to RMB 53 million for the third quarter of fiscal year 2020 from RMB 48.1 million in the same period of last year. General and administrative expenses increased by 4.1% to RMB 33.4 million from the third quarter of fiscal year 2020 from RMB 32.1 million in the same period of last year. Sales and marketing expenses increased by 5% to RMB 8.8 million for the third quarter of fiscal year 2012, from RMB 8.3 million in the same period of last year. Operating income increased by 41.5% to RMB 10.9 million from the third quarter of fiscal year 2012, from RMB 7.7 million in the same period of last year. Adjusted operating income, which excluded share-based compensation expenses, increased by 1.5% to RMB 17 million from the third quarter of fiscal year 2012, from RMB 16.7 million in the same period of last year. Interest income net was RMB 1.5 million from the third quarter of fiscal year 2012, compared with RMB 1.2 million in the same period of last year. Other income net was RMB 4.1 million for the third quarter of fiscal year 2020, compared with other expenses of RMB 2.6 million in the same period of last year, primarily due to investment fair value change and foreign exchange. Net income increased by 321.6% to RMB 11.3 million during the third quarter of fiscal year 2020, compared with RMB 2.7 million in the same period of last year. Adjusted net income increased by 6% to RMB 14.5 million, compared with RMB 13.7 million in the same period of last year. Basic and diluted net income per ADS attributable to ordinary shareholders for the third quarter of fiscal year 2020 were RMB 24 cents and RMB 23 cents, compared with RMB 6 cents and RMB 5 cents respectively for the same period of last year. Non-GAAP basic and diluted net income per ADS attributable to ordinary shareholders for the third quarter of fiscal year 2020 were RMB 31 cents and RMB 30 cents, compared with RMB 28 cents and RMB 27 cents respectively for the same period of last year. Cash and cash equivalents. As of November 30, 2019, the company had cash and cash equivalents of RMB 564.6 million, an increase of 28.4% compared with RMB 439.6 million as of February 20, 2019. To be mindful of the length of our earnings call, for the first 9 months of fiscal year 2012 financial results, I will encourage listeners to refer to our earnings press release for further details. Looking forward, for the fourth quarter of fiscal 2020, the company expects to generate revenue in the range of RMB 80.9 million to RMB 84.1 million, representing year-over-year growth of approximately 25% to 30%. The above outlook is based on current market conditions and reflects the company's preliminary estimates of market and operating conditions and the customer demand, which are all subject to change. This concludes my opinion of prepared remarks. We will now open the call to questions. Operator, please go ahead.
We will now begin the question and answer session. To ask a question, you may press star, then 1 on your touch-tone phone. If you are using a speakerphone, please pick up your handset before pressing the keys. To withdraw your question, please press star, then 2. For the benefit of all participants on today's call, if you wish to ask your question to management in Chinese, please immediately repeat your question in English. At this time, we will pause momentarily to assemble our roster. The first question comes from Joy Wei of 86 Research. Please go ahead.
Hi, Joanne. Congratulations on the solid performance. My questions will
Ms. Wei, could you come a little closer to the speakerphone or microphone, please?
Is this better now?
Yes, thank you for your help.
Okay. My questions will mostly focus on our future growth strategies. Firstly, on geographic expansion. Could management share any metrics on the newly entered cities, including Chongqing, Shenzhen, and Jiangsu? Like how many enrollment come from these three cities? Is the ramp-up pace there better or worse than our expectation? And also the reasons behind the results. And secondly, what is the expansion plan in the coming quarters, both in Shanghai and also the newly entered cities? What kind of measures will we take to promote our brand there? How will the development there impact our financials? And thirdly, a more general question on our growth strategies besides geo expansion. Can management share with us your plans on expanding course offerings in areas like more subjects or wider age groups or other models such as online education? Which one do you think will offer the most opportunities for Four Seasons education? And how do we plan to grab the opportunities there? Any color would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay, let me take a first. Yeah, I can take a first crack, and then you can chime in or add on if you want. Okay. First of all, thank you. To your first question, sorry, we don't disclose the detailed enrollments of those learning centers, respectively. But in general, our centers in Chongqing and Jiangsu are getting mature, and the results are well in line with our expectation. And I will say the in certain cities in Jiangsu, because we have several learning centers in Jiangsu, in certain cities in Jiangsu and in Chongqing, I would say it's actually better than our expectation. The ramp up is very well and fast. Shenzhen, the center is really new, so it's still in the sort of development. It's at the very early stage of its cycle. So not much color on that yet. But we are in the process of recruiting the best team, with the recruiting manager as well as our teachers to help us to grow our learning center in Shenzhen. That's the key city that we will focus our efforts on in terms of centers outside Shanghai. So that's to your first question. I think the second and third question are related. Is basically our future growth strategy. To be honest, for the coming 2 quarters, I don't think we will open up a lot of new centers in Shanghai. And outside Shanghai, yes, maybe we will open 1 or 2, but given that the centers in Shenzhen is newly open, it's pretty big. So we'll focus on, try to ramp it up fast. And Shenzhen is a big market, and we believe that will help us to drive a lot of growth, contribute to our total revenue. And in terms of diversifying our course offerings to different age groups and different subjects, yes, that's one of the key areas that we have been focused on since our IPO. We see a very good ramp up, enrollment increase in our middle school programs as well as our pre-K programs. So that's one of the nice results that we see from age group expansion. And the contribution from math to our total revenue, it's getting lower and lower, which is also result of our continuous efforts to expand our subject offerings. Now we offer even in primary school, we offer English, we offer literature even. And for our middle school program, we basically cover all the subjects. And our content's getting mature, and our teachers are getting mature. So hopefully we will get nice growth from those areas as well. Online is another area that we decided to focus and put a lot of efforts going forward. We believe that's one of the trends. And Four Seasons is very strong in content as well as faculty. To us, online is really just one of the means, how to use a digital means to let our program to reach more students, more target students. That's the way that we're going to work on hardly for the coming quarters.
Thank you.
The next question comes from Maggie Jones of Haitong International. Please go ahead.
Good evening, management. Thanks for taking my question. I have two here. The first is regarding the Shanghai latest regulation. Is there any tightening or change in the regulation locally? And my second question will be, the MOE recently released a new policy for the university enrollment program yesterday. So it's going to replace the previous university independent enrollment program. And how do you see this as the new opportunities, and what might be some changes in the course offerings going forward? Thank you.
Regarding your first question about the policy tightening, the Jing Ling has been out in Shanghai, years ago. So we haven't seen any tightening. It's already been tightening enough, 2 and 3 years ago. And for the new Yaohao Zhengce, it's basically everybody's waiting, for the details to come. But just for us, we believe, as long as the scarcity of good education there, everybody will looking for opportunities to get better education, to get better education opportunities. So we think the demand is still going to be solid. As to your second question on the new policy on the Zizhao, as you can see, just from my personal point of view, it says that it basically the whole evaluation system becomes more transparent, and it focuses more on those basic subjects that like 数理化文史哲. To us, we think it's actually it's a positive drive to the after school tutoring market.
And was there a follow-up, Ms. Jones? Again, if you have a question, please press star, then 1 on a touch-tone phone. The next question comes from Hong Dao of Gonghao Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello, management. My name is Gao Hong from Gonghao Securities. Thanks for taking my question. So first, I want to congratulate management for such a solid operational performance. So my first question is, what's the structure among the 48% student enrollment increase? Like, how much was from primary school, middle school, and high school? How much was from math, English, and other subjects? And my second question is, could you share more details about our math lab project? Like, what's the form, target students? And also, could you talk more about our online strategy? Thank you.
Wang Xun, why don't you answer the first question first, and answer the next two?
First,
Okay.
we are not disclosing such details by segment, but I can answer your question about the increase, the reason of the increase. First, I think the most important reason is the healthy ramp up of our learning centers. Second reason is that because the Spring Festival is earlier than last year, so we moved the recruitment schedule a little earlier than last year. So that's a partially due to reason of the increase. Okay, but mainly it's because of the healthy ramp up of our learning centers.
Yeah, for the math lab project, the math lab, has different parts. Yeah, the math lab, has different parts. It includes the math culture, the math project as well as a math evaluation system. Our current strategy is to sell the math project to those standard K-12 schools, which, as I mentioned in our script, we have inked agreements with a few top schools in Shanghai. So their students will use our math lab, and teachers will use math lab, which will help them to evaluate, how the students' capability, when it comes to math. And subsequently, we will offer, solutions, and our teachers will also have, to some of the schools, we actually also provide a follow-on sort of 录校课程. So that's how the math project is how the math lab project works now. But because it's new, so the business model is actually evolving. We will definitely cultivating the math labs to different needs of for the more schools that we're going to work with. So far, we actually have received a very positive feedback from the schools because we have a very solid and very large problem sets database, and our evaluation system is also very sort of precise and reliable. On the online strategy, it's really new. We are still sort of, in the internal discussion, and we're also in discussion with some big, players in the market, in terms of, internet traffic, as well as content. So we're looking for different ways to provide, because we believe our, the core is very, very strong. The content, when it comes to the content teachers, it's really just, in what form and in which way that we can provide our content in a more economical way to, to more students, not just Shanghai, but, nationwide. So this is one of the key strategy and key area that we're going to focus on for the coming quarters.
Was there a follow-up, Mr. Dao?
I'm good, thank you.
As there are no further questions now, I would like to turn the call back over to the company for closing remarks.
Thank you once again for joining us today. If you have further questions, please feel free to contact Four Seasons Investor Relations through the contact information provided on our website or TPG Investor Relations.
This concludes this conference call. You may now disconnect your line. Thank you.